Hey everyone, welcome to the June episode of Namma Veetu Thottam. Hope you're all doing good and doing safe. Most of your garden would have already started producing, so hope you're enjoying your garden space this time of the year. When it comes to my garden, like I've started getting my produce. I'm almost done with my spring greens. It started bolting, so I took a pause. I have to restart my greens again. But greens wise, it's kind of almost done in my case. I have now the fruit season have come in, so I've started getting my strawberries and cherries are up, and raspberries started coming in. So that's pretty much in my garden. The apples and the pears and the plums will still have to grow. And with respect to new plants, I'm avoiding for this month, especially with the heat wave coming. So I'm not adding, though whatever I told in the last episode, like I have few more berries I wanted to add. I have some in the pots and some like I'm holding off. That's one thing, like with respect to the new plants or the new additions in my garden. It's not significant this month. um, I told you in my last episode I was working in my herb garden. So it's not done yet. Whatever I've started from seeds or from cuttings from trades and all of that, I've repotted. Some are doing good, some need space and all of that, but it's not established yet. I'll do a quick run of what I have. And I'm slowly building my herb space. So it's, maybe in one of the upcoming episode, I'll take time to talk about the full herb garden in general. And then I'll do a quick walkthrough of veggies, not much. As you know, like my produce, I started little late, right after just beginning June. So you will not expect to see a tomato or a pepper, but those plants are doing good in my garden. So it's more like, from when it comes to veggies, it's like harvesting of spring veggies, clearing the space, and then like waiting for the summer veggies to kick in while the fruits fill the space for me in Gramarita. My garden is kind of working out here. So that pretty much in my veggie garden. So I'll do a quick tour of that. And when it comes to garden maintenance, maybe this episode I'll try to cover about the pest handling and maintenance and what I do with respect to pest control. So as you know, I kind of like have this coexisting method. So when I say pests and the critters, I try to share space, but there are certain pests I also take care of, and how I treat those. I'll give you a quick walkthrough on what I have. I do not have like too many variant of pests in my garden. As you know, most of our Pacific Northwest, we are prone to slugs. So slug is definitely one of the major problem in any garden space you will have. And other than that, like I do have few insects here and there and more caterpillars with respect to the butterflies starting to come up. So I just try to give you a walkthrough of how I share the space or what I do with my veggie garden when I walk through that, and try to cover that aspect as well. So for the herb garden, here is my first space of herbs, which I am still maintaining in pots, and some of them I will be moving into ground wherever possible. But here's a quick peek. And I have like various kinds of mints all around in general to give you an idea. I do have sage, thyme, and basil, and this one is a curry plant. So some of it I did source from a nursery as a start, or some of it I did trade, and it's a mix. Most of it started from cutting, especially the mints, either from the previous year's growth or whatever it is. I just started from a cutting and moved it to this pot. And around like 20-30% is from seed. So it's a combination, as you see, right? So this is a curry plant. It's not the curry leaf. The curry leaf is this. The Indian curry leaf is this, but this is a curry plant. But this is like very small. It's for the fun of it, let's put it that way. And I do have pineapple sage. I have Vietnamese coriander, and then I do have my, as I said, lime mint, scotch mint, peppermint, and all of those kind of mints, ginger mint, and so on. And I do have Italian basil, Thai basil. The cilantro is starting to bolt, but I have started one more outside, so you'll see a combination. I'm just letting it to have a flower here. And then I do have some more mints. Thyme is predominantly here, so I'll come to this. This is like a lemon thyme, and I have the thyme, English thyme I grew from seeds. I have the sage I grew from seed, and so on. And here is some more mints and thymes, lavender thyme, and what I got is a chocolate mint and a combination of other mints. So this one is Brahmi, or the Ayurvedic herb Brahmi, and I do have Gotu Kola, the Vallarai. So here is the Vallarai Gotu Kola. I have one more that is in ground. So there are two different kinds I'm growing. The one I got from, I mean, there are two different stores I got this from. So I'll talk about it when we walk through the garden. That looks a little different, but this is the Vallarai. Here is the sage, and this is the Brahmi. So here is the first set of my herb combo. As you see, these are in the pots, and these are mostly the herbs I frequently use, and I just quickly come out, grab some, snip some, and then like use it for my cooking. There will be few I will move to ground soon. So they have, I can see they are overgrown in the pot, so those will go to ground soon. I would wait for the heat wave to settle and then do that. And one more thing I wanted to show you. Here is the moringa I was talking about. There is one that really survived. I actually lost a couple of them, but here is one that is definitely picking up, and I just moved this alone into a bigger nursery pot, and that's it. And there will be few more I will start from seeds again. Like I have to I think I kind of took over all my parsley and all of that, so there are a few more those kind of ones I would do the seeds. So here is the full view. If you look at it, I just stacked up the pots and either moved the transplants or started the seeds in the pot directly. And the shelf is nothing but the greenhouse I was maintaining. I just removed the cover and I'm using it as a plant shelf. Few other herbs I have. As I said in my last episode, I'm working this space out. So what you see is the lemongrass out there, and then this is stevia, and this is Gotu Kola. I told I successfully, at least last winter was mild, so I was able to overwinter. And then there is sage coming up, and then few the anise hyssop is there, sorrel is here. So, and then I also tuck in lavenders as much as possible, so you will see lavenders in bloom, and the lavender here is in bloom, and so I just space around my lavender altogether. So pest control. Yeah, you start your garden, you have your plants in, and then there would be one or the other pest that's coming in. So what do you do about it? Or how do you control it? Let's talk quickly about the pest control. And again, I'm not getting into every single variant of the pest. I'm just going to give you an overall idea of what I do and what are some things that I do to deter pests away and so on. So quick continuation from the last episode I talked about, right? The companion planting is a very good method when it comes to pest control. So you choose your appropriate plants in the garden that kind of automatically keeps certain pests away, and that way your plants are protected. Marigolds, as an example, is known to be a good pest repellent, and basil is another one that you can interplant with tomatoes and so on. So follow the companion planting. I typically follow that, and that is one reason where I do not have too many pests to control or too many variants to control in my garden. For sure, I have, as in any Pacific Northwest gardening, like as in anything in Seattle, slugs are the most common ones, especially after a downpour, and then like when the soil is wet and so on. Slugs are pretty common when it comes to our gardens. There are multiple ways you can actually deter slugs, or you can even control slugs once you have the infestation. Copper is known to kind of deter slugs, but there are also been sometimes when you have too many slugs, the slugs tend to outgrow all of those as well. But keep looking and figure out all the options that you have, like copper tape, like insulate. If you're doing a container, you get standard copper tapes against the slug, so you just tape it around, or tape it around your raised beds. That's one option you could do. Copper wires is another one you could do. You could have beer traps for the slugs. So slugs do exist, slugs are going to exist in your garden. So what you could do is, like, slugs are also attracted to beer. So you can have a beer trap, like you pour beer in a cup, plant it in your garden, slugs automatically come to it and then they drown. So that's another one you do. And there are multiple ways when it comes to slug control, and there is like tried and tested ways, and something works for somebody and something does not work for somebody. So look around, there is like standard 5 or 6 options that you have. And if none of that works, or you don't want to do any of that, there is standard slug killers or slug deterrent products that are available in the nurseries. You could get it, like Sluggo is a good known product out there, which you could have, and it's safe to be with pets and kids, so you could use that. I personally use a product called Cories. It's yeast-based pellets, so I drop that around my garden area right after a rain spell, and so that has been helping me overall. I still do have some slugs. I manually pick them and trash it, and I also like try to kind of like keep it ahead by not watering late in the evenings and so on. So I'm trying to also work a multiple ways when it comes to slug control. And Cories have been my go-to product along with the Sluggo. Depending on what is available, I pick one or the other, and that's been so far helpful. But just that is not helpful. I would go with preventative measures like not watering, not keeping the soil wet, or deep watering and then let it go. Those kind of approaches also I try to do when it comes to slug protections. One thing you all know, I attract a lot of birds in the garden, so that's my way. So whenever there is a spell, or if I'm not around for some time and I really need a pest, I kind of like, I always have a bird feeder, so I up my food source in the bird feeder. I have my fruits running around from a bird attraction point of view, so I try to like kind of work around these whole slug systems. That's one. Like, slug is something you will see it in your garden. If you have a garden in Seattle, you are going to have slugs, and there are multiple ways you can. It's harmless. It can take over your plant, but you can also stay ahead of it. I have seen slug possibly eating a big size zucchini in a night in my garden, and that's when I got really serious and I started working through this. So that's one. So the other kind of pest that might harm your plants are these standard caterpillars. Yes, you have all the flowers, the butterflies are going to come in, and obviously they're going to lay their eggs on these leaves, and then the caterpillars are going to, they need food, so they'll start eating out your leaves, and you could see, like, you might see holes in your leaves, or you might see the entire plant taken over by your caterpillars and so on, right? So in those scenarios, what I typically do is I plant a section for them, or I plant plants for the caterpillars, like it's called a sacrificial plants. I have, like, if I go with dill and parsley or something like the caterpillars love. So if I plant dill and parsley, I have twice the quantity. So even if it takes one, it's okay. I will have the second set of plants. So that's one thing like I try to do when it comes to the garden. This year, for example, I didn't plant dill this year yet, and so then there were like a lot of white butterflies that were like loving the radish. I let some radish bolt for the pots, so they were loving the radish flowers, and they were like all around it. So what I did, I left those whole section of the garden for them, and I moved my radish elsewhere. So that's something like I kind of like interwork again with those pests, and that's another one you would commonly see in your garden, or the caterpillars. The third set of bugs, which I personally this year have a lot, is the aphids. Aphids are known to be here, and especially when you have roses. This year I actually increased my roses as well. So aphids are going to be in your garden, and aphids are kind of easy to move. The moment you spot them, hose them with your garden hose water, dislodge them. That should be good enough. But if you still have aphids, ladybugs are a good aphid eater. So attract more ladybugs into your garden. So that will kind of automatically take care of aphids. I'll quickly like show a clipping of how I have like a bunch of ladybugs in the garden this time. at various stages. It was very interesting. Like I always say, right, gardening is a learning. This year learning had been the life cycle of ladybug. We did not intend. Last year we intended to kind of like, as a family, we intended to kind of start butterfly from the egg to the larva and all of that, right? So from the larva to the pupa, caterpillar, and all of that stages we learned. I used that as an opportunity for my kid. This year it became a surprise opportunity to kind of show him around different stages of ladybugs. So ladybugs are good aphid eaters. If you are not able to attract naturally, there are ladybugs sold in stores. Like you get it in Fred Meyer's and Lowe's, Home Depot, and all around. So get them, and if you have an aphid infestation, get them and release them in the cool period. So what I typically do, when this year I didn't buy ladybugs, they are naturally in the garden, so I'm not like going to add more. But what I do if I have to get the ladybugs is like I water the garden thoroughly in the evening, I cool it down, and then like I release my ladybugs if where the aphids are most, and they tend to like gobble up on the aphids, and then like the more aphids are there, they are going to continue to stay, they're not going to fly away. Create the good condition for the ladybugs when you get them. You just don't want to get them and then like they move to another garden. So release it in the cool time, and then like make sure they have good food, and they would automatically move around when they don't have food, and that's okay too. So that's one thing. So this year I personally have a lot of aphids, and I also have ladybugs in the garden. So this is pretty much when it comes to the pests or common pests, you have it in your garden. So one common product that can address these pests in the garden is diatomaceous earth. So diatomaceous earth is like, it's a naturally available product. These are like made of the fossilized diatoms. So basically it's like you have to pick the food grade ones, right? So what this is made of is like, think of it as a fine dust. So what happens, like you apply that, you take, first of all, you take good precaution as per the label, and then before you apply. And once you apply on the leaves, it actually has very fine particles that actually can hurt the skin of these crawlers and the insects, and that way it kills them. So that kind of a method is something we use in the garden, and it's very effective when it comes to pest control. But when you use DE, also watch out that you don't apply it on the flowers. As I said, DE can be harmful for good and bad. So take precaution when you want to do a DE based approach. I was about to do it for my aphids, but then when I noticed my ladybug, I backed off the plan. But there are some places where I did, some places I did not. It's like it'll be like a white powdery substance when you apply. So just apply it on the leaves and the under of the leaves where most of the larva sits, and then that should also take care if you want to go with a product that's available towards pest control. So my spring veggies are almost done. I'm slowly clearing off the space, and then like there's few that's starting to come up from summer. Corn is picking up here, and then I will have to clean up some more. I'll have to clean up some more spring veggies. I'm just letting it naturally go die out, and then take it from there. So mainly the peas, I'll have to slowly. It's, as you see, it's starting to dry, and with the heat wave I'm expecting it to completely die off. And then the tomatoes and peppers are picking up. So this is the veggie side of it. I have some zucchinis that are flowering, and I do have some cucumbers doing well here. Behind the fence is my strawberry patch. They are consistently producing. Let me go close to show you one. So there is few more strawberries that are coming up. The white ones you see are the DEs I talked about on the leaves, and after I watered and dried up, that's how it will look like. So more strawberries here. Every plant almost have strawberries, and I'm harvesting them almost daily. And the second berry that's starting to come up are the blueberries for me. I can see this plant actually have some berries already starting to ripen. So the blueberries are coming up, and then I do have some more cherries. So here are the cherries. We keep harvesting on a daily basis, and this side of the tree is something we need to address. We will do it in the next few days. I hope you enjoyed this episode. In the upcoming episode, I'll cover another topic and talk about it. Until then, if you have a topic of interest, please share it in the comments or message me, and I'll pick that up and then start talking about it. I'll continue to do the pest as and when kind of we cover at plant or talk about it. But otherwise, it's the method is the same when it comes to pest control. Till then, stay safe, happy gardening, and have a great summer.